Hello, Pacific League fans and fans to be. I'm Gabe Lerman, one third of the English YouTube crew, and once again, we are calling out to Pacific League diehards to try and persuade you to cheer for their club. This is Making the Pitch for 2024. My guest is one of the earliest angry men on YouTube. For the last 14 plus years, Buckley has been laying into pop stars, pundits, and general insipidity. But once I spotted him in the live chat for a midnight matinee, I discovered he was a closet Fighters fan. Let's get a dose of his thoughts on the season that was and what to look forward to. Thank you for joining me today, Buckley.
Thanks, Gabe. Yeah, this is a lot of fun.
And I'm glad that you've been enjoying the midnight matinees when you've been able to stay up. I don't know what it is with Canadians who are NPB and Pacific League fans, but Jimbo, my colleague, is from Montreal, so it's got to be something to do with only one team up here, right?
Yeah, maybe that's we're starved for something to do, and but even still, yeah, just watching the midnight shows that you guys do, and then you turn me on to the streams when you guys aren't able to broadcast, and yeah, so it's been cool to be able to follow some of these teams. I'm a bit of a night owl as well, anyway, so yeah, a 1 a.m. start time here is it's fine by me.
What did you think of last season for the Fighters?
Well, they went 60 and 82, and they finished in the bottom of the Pacific League. So, what do you think I thought of last season?
Yeah, it was kind of a rough go, and there was that elongated losing streak in the middle of it, but they showed promise.
They do, and it's one of those things where every time that they do show promise, though, it's frustrating as a fan to watch. Is old big boss there likes to then change up batting orders or move people around in the field, and you're just like, why are you experimenting with this? And I mean, I guess probably the answer is because when you're 17 games back of first place, and there's not very many games left in the season, you can start doing things like that just to see what might work for next season. But sometimes as a fan, it gets frustrating when you watch them win a game, 10-0, and then the next game they change something up and they lose 3-1, right?
Yeah. To be fair, Tsuyoshi Shinjo, the manager, the aforementioned big boss, has staked his reputation on them making the postseason this year. If they don't do it, he's willing to quit. So
Mm.
fingers crossed, it'll be interesting. That said, you must have had a favorite moment from last year. I've got a couple on my list, but I'm curious what yours would be.
I was going to say Big Boss coming in on the hovercraft. That was the year before, right?
I think so, yeah.
But I'm going to say no. So last year, they beat the Hanshin Tigers, the Japan Series champs, during interleague play. They I think they took them 2 games to 1 in their series. As far as getting those little wins go throughout the season, that's got to be one of the bigger ones where you can say, hey, yeah, so these guys, they won the Japan League, but look at how they fared against the Fighters. Maybe the Fighters are sort of kryptonite to them or something, right?
Learning to win. And yeah, mention to any Hanshin Tigers fans the numbers 33 and 4, and they'll go, oh, okay, you know your Pacific League stuff. My favorite moment still has to be Chusei Manami putting the team on his back, hitting a game-tying home run, and then the sayonara walk-off. I still remember the play-by-play guy losing his gourd as the ball sailed into the second deck of the brand new ballpark they inaugurated last year. I mean, you've
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
seen the broadcast. How jealous are you?
It is a oh yeah, it's a great stadium. Yeah, that's definitely you got to put that on the bucket list, right? Of getting a chance to
Absolutely. It's a big upgrade
go and
over the
check out a game
Sapporo
there.
Dome that I visited. I gotta try the in-stadium onsen, a hot spring overlooking the field. I mean, how could you go wrong?
Yeah, man.
Who should North American fans keep an eye on for the 2024 season? Who are we should we circle as, oh, okay, he could be interesting, or he's gonna be fun to watch?
Okay, well, I mean, obviously you mentioned Monami. That guy is every time he's up to bat or out in the field. something you're just going to see something cool almost every game it seems from the guy, right? But in terms of North American fans specifically, a couple guys I thought of that they may have actually seen that I think might be interesting to watch this year. Drew Verhagen's back. He played for the Cardinals last season, and the season before that, he played for the Fighters. And I've seen him start a couple times, and he's hit or miss or whatever. But one of the things, this is one of these, as a Fighters fan, sometimes you take your fun when you can find it, and
To temper your expectations just a little bit.
Yes, and watching Drew Verhagen on the mound, what's even more fun about him is because sometimes he's pitching great and sometimes he's not, and when he's not, if you're a lip reader, some choice words you'll see after someone hits a dinger off him, or maybe there's an error in the field and that wasn't his fault necessarily, or things like that, and you'll see him mouth some words where you're like, oh, yep, I know what he said there. He speaks English, obviously, and so do I. So there's that.
I mean,
But anyways,
it's a 3.5 ERA over 38 starts. That's not terrible. That's
no, it's
perfectly
not.
serviceable for a foreign player in Japan. And the fact that he's
Sure.
familiar with it means he's going to have that much more of a boost.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that, and unfortunately, sometimes he just hasn't had the defense around him or the offense, right? So, hopefully, some of these things can start coming together. And the other guy I wanted to mention too was Franmil Reyes, who's
The
joining.
Franimal. Yeah, I saw that sign. I was
Yeah,
like, yeah, he looks like he could really do well in Japan.
yeah. So I think at least in the preseason games I've seen, I guess they've got him in the DH spot right now. But I guess we'll see. I don't know if I don't know where they might stick him if they need him in the field or whatever.
I
But
think we might see Reyes spell Ariel Martinez or Kotaro Kiyomiya at first. I think he's going to
okay,
be like the long-term DH because you've got Go Matsumoto, the aforementioned Mandami, and Andrew Stevenson in the outfield. That's pretty much the best defensive outfield in the Pacific League right there. So at least if it's going to be a death to flying things outfield for them.
oh for sure, yeah. I mean, yeah, you got Monami chasing balls in right field. I don't. It's and then I saw him. I'm pretty sure I saw him gun a guy down last year from the warning track. So
He's already got a laser
to
beam
home.
highlight in the preseason. They call it Area 66. He's got
Yeah.
that arm.
So yeah, I mean, if all goes well and they can start, putting that together, that'd be great. But yeah, but Reyes, I think I'm pretty sure I saw he hit 30 for the Guardians in 2021. Maybe putting some of those away for the Fighters this year. That would be great. I'm guessing that I think he had some injury problems the year before and
Yeah,
things
only
like that.
19
But
games with the Royals last year.
yeah, but so if he can stay healthy over there, and maybe with some of those other guys they can keep him on the straight and narrow over there, then that'll be good.
Yeah, injury bug has always been an issue with the Fighters. Kotaro Kiyomiya and Yuki Nomura, two of their infielders, lost significant time last year. I think Kiyomiya is already on the shelf. I'm hoping he's ready for opening day, but the pitching, I think, is going to be what's going to carry this club. Kato, Ito, they got Sachia Yamasaki from the Buffaloes. Hey now.
Yeah, that's exciting. And yeah, you mentioned Ito. Guys got, I don't know how much he really pitched in some of that, but he's got two gold medals, right? One in the World Baseball Classic last year, one in the Olympics in 2020. So, and I think he's, I don't know, I think he's really starting to come into his own as well there. So,
He didn't quite replicate his rookie or his sophomore season. His ERA went up by a point 0.5 runs, if I'm reading this right. But
right.
he's still only 26. He's got opportunities to recombobulate, and it's his name and number I got on the back of my Fighters jersey. So I am rooting for him. One
That's
last guy
fair.
I
Yeah.
got to mention before we move on. The first ever reverse posting in NPB history, Gosuke Kato, former Blue Jay, former Met, drafted by the Fighters to come to Japan. And as a result, he does not count as a foreign player.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So I've got his cheer towel. I think he was on Reddit for a brief while too. Look up G Kato 17.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, I got to pull for him uh, as a former Blue Jay, especially. So we talked about it a little bit. How did you become a fan of the Fighters?
So, as you know, uh, I'm a comedian of sorts. It may not surprise people that some of the things that I do are also not taken super seriously sometimes, right? But so the first time I ever heard about the Hokkaido Nippon-Ham Fighters, probably like every dumb North American, I'm like, sorry, wait a minute. There's a team called the Ham Fighters. What is going on in Japan, right? And then I've come to learn that is you do not call them the Ham Fighters, right?
In the
So
words of the
uh,
great Kazuo Ito, they have no quarrel with Ham.
And although, and now I don't know, this translations may be poor, but sometimes I go through the YouTube comments on the Japanese channels, and you'll see people call them the hams. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe they're not really that, they don't hate it that much, as much as I thought they did. But
I think
anyway,
I think what's going on there is that their short form, their short name is Nichihamu,
mm,
which is a shortening of the sponsor's name,
of course,
Nippon-Ham. So they condense it into just Nichihamu,
I see. And then
thus
perhaps
hams.
Google's turning it into hams. I see.
That's my
Uh,
guess.
that's good possibility. So that's the first, that's the sort of anchor, right? And then I start learning, oh, you Darvish played for them. Obviously Otani played for them. I got to see you Darvish play when he was playing for the Rangers. I got to see him at don't call it the Sky Dome, the Rogers Center, playing the Jays back in I think 2012, I want to say. And it didn't go well for your Jays, I'm sorry to say. But
Eh,
but anyway, yeah. So I start learning about these types of things, and then I love an underdog. That's the other thing too, right? And obviously, that hasn't been the case their whole existence, but probably over the last, I think you'd agree, what, 4 or 5 years. That's probably a good classification for them.
I'd say so. Post Oltani, they've kind of had a bit of a hangover, but I feel like the core is really gelling at this point. Nobody tanks in Japan. So even the last place team went out and signed Satya Yamazaki, went out and signed Franmil Reyes. That's one thing I adore about the Japanese leagues and the Pacific League in particular.
Oh, sure. But yeah, so then I started, obviously, as I think we all did during the pandemic, started looking for new hobbies, new things to do. And I'd already been a little bit familiar with Japanese baseball through different video games and things like that. But and I had visited Japan in 2017, got to see the outside of the Tokyo Dome anyway, but and went to the Giants store there, got a couple of little pieces of merchandise there, little souvenirs to take back. But yeah, so 2020 hits and I'm, like looking for something to do. And I think Japanese baseball was one of the first uh, things to come back, right?
Yeah, it was all three of the Asian leagues. I'm pretty sure that the Korean league actually wound up getting broadcast on ESPN. But yeah,
Mm.
but the Japanese leagues were right there among the early goers. And Pacific League TV, no blackouts. Who says no?
Right. So yeah, so I started watching the highlights on the different channels, on the different YouTube channels there. And yeah, then I discovered obviously the your North American broadcasts on the English channel there. And yeah, so yeah, I was like, well, I'm not gonna be one of those guys that starts rooting for, the last year's champions or something like that. So I was like, you know what? No, it's gonna be Hokkaido. I feel like they've got a bit of a, we'll call it a sort of, I don't know, kindred spirit with the North. You mentioned I'm from Canada as well, and Hokkaido being the most northern part of Japan itself. Still sees snow regularly, those types of things. It's like, okay, yeah, this has got to be it. This is my team.
And now it's time to make your case for others to join you in the Fighters fandom. Buckley, why should other fans cheer for your team? It's time to make your pitch.
All right. Well, I mean, basically, it's because they need all the support they can get is really why. But they're a fun team to watch. If you, especially, you mentioned obviously the Jays. If you're a Jays fan, for hockey fans, if you're a Leafs fan, especially, I think that there's some parallels there with the level of sort of drama of the ups and downs, right? Because personally, I think it's kind of boring when you get a team that's all ups or all downs. But as I mentioned earlier, you'll get those runs where they go on where they win 3-4 games in a row, and you're like, okay, here we go. This is happening now. You'll see them blow out, maybe the first or second place team 10-0, and you'll go, okay, yes, now we're on track. And then they'll drop the next 3 games, and you're like, and then they're back up again. And I think that's sort of, I like that roller coaster. Some people don't. But if you are a fan that likes that kind of a roller coaster, who likes a team that's got a little bit of a drama to it, then I think the Fighters are your team.
So if you are a fan without a heart condition who wants to be in for all the ups and downs so that you can revel in the joy when you reach that moment of victory, you too should join the fandom of the Hokkaido Nippon-Ham Fighters. Teaser for the podcast season preview. I'm calling for the Fighters to finish third. I'm in on this.
All
Buckley,
right,
thank you
yeah.
so much for taking the time to chat with me today.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, Gabe.
Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that YouTubey stuff. Our first midnight matinee is on the way soon, so stay tuned. Take care, everyone.